Oh my gosh, dude.
Yo, Taffy, are you kidding me? That was the most uncomfortable intro I've ever sat through. Rob, you previewed that?
Yeah.
Oh my It's kind of stupid, but it's funny.
Yeah, it is.
Oh man, what a slow content drought. You know what it is? Like the only thing my feed is showing is how awful women are, and I'm just so black pilled from it. Like the past,
we've done how many shows on
I know so
on
like,
it, but that's all that's going on.
Can't talk about Lindsay Clancy again, but like, man, the women have really just. Oh my gosh, man! I spent an hour with my wife and daughter before the show just to like restore my faith in women because it's you can get very jaded just watching videos on X and forget that like they're not all like that. You know, it's just
it doesn't restore my faith in women. It just makes me more grateful for the ones that I continue to keep in my life.
Yeah. Oh man, I don't know. It's just like
otherwise the rest of them compound sand.
It's funny, like even Candace came out and said Lindsay Clancy is innocent, right? But
like come on, that's not surprising.
No, but I don't even know if she actually believes that. I just think like the Candace audience is the true crime audience. Like that is her audience, right? So the majority of people who watch Candace are crazy delusional women who watch true crime stuff.
Hover around a 70 to 80 IQ at best.
But they're obsessed with true crime stuff, and that's why they're obsessed with the Charlie Kirk thing. So, like, people are trying to turn the Lindsay Clancy story into a true crime thing, like trying to solve what really happened. It's like, no, nobody's even arguing what happened here, you psychopaths. Like, everybody knows what happened. The question is, was she morally responsible for it? Oh, I'm so sick of this stupid case.
I think it's women who, for whatever reason, I have no idea, but for whatever reason, like, cannot stand their lives so much that they have to, like, pretend everything is some special mystery that only then they can solve. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's actually. They're just bored. They're bored housewives, the majority of them. Like they don't, like modern technology has made life so easy. You throw a load on the dish in the laundry, you throw a load on the dishwasher, and your house is clean, and you got nothing to do but watch true crime crap. So these women are bored, unless they have like a gaggle of children that they're taking care of. Most of them got one or two. Some of them are in school, and they're just sitting around, and they're bored. So they make themselves into detectives. I don't know. It's nuts. It's like, but the other thing is, man, I don't even want to talk about women again tonight. Like,
I just got a text from my wife reminding me that she loves true crime. I know you do, sweetie, and I love you very much, but everything I said still kind of stands, generally speaking.
I like a little true crime here and there too, but I'm not talking about like people who just like true crime. Like there is some crazy women who watch true crime. I mean,
like a lot of this YouTube stuff I listen to is like mysterious disappearances, right? Like people who just disappeared and no one has any idea.
Like unsolved
I feel like there's something different there than listening to how.
You're also not making it your identity. Like, you know what I mean? Like to casually listen to a true crime thing is different than making it. Like I love Sword and Scale. Like if we're taking a long car ride, we'll listen to Sword. You ever listen to Sword and Scale?
You mentioned it, and I tried it once, and then decided that I hate those people.
Why?
I don't know why. I don't know.
Oh,
you know how I am with the way people sound,
like audio wise. So they just basically do audio versions of like true crime stories and stuff. But like they'll play audio from the court case, so that it's just like it's a good story. So if you're doing a long car ride, it's like it's like watching an episode of 48 Hours or something. But yeah, I just think that. So like today, we weren't sure if we were going to do a show today because we're interviewing Father Modsley on Saturday. Well, no, there isn't much to talk about, but that's the point. So like we're interviewing Father Modsley Saturday. So we were like, should we skip Thursday and just do Saturday, or what I think what we're going to do is interview Modsley Saturday, put it on locals only.
Yeah.
So if anybody wants to watch the show live or get it early access, you'll have that Saturday, and then we will release that on YouTube at a later date, and
Probably
that will
Tuesday.
be something like that. So but yeah, I'm reading Maudsley's book right now, Know Thy Enemy. He's got some interesting a lot of it is covering some of the stuff we already know, and then he gets into like some stuff with Freud that's really interesting. He has some stuff from Michael Hitchborn that he covers too. It's pretty good. I recommend everybody go and get it. It's on Amazon. Know Thy Enemy by Father Modsley. I'm trying to get through it. I'm only like a third of the way through. I want to try and get through it before we interview him on Saturday. So
yeah, I just got it in the mail yesterday. There's no chance I get through it.
Yeah, if you skim through it, I think I'll send you the chapters he wanted me to focus on. So this way here you can maybe at least, get it, because there was a couple topics he definitely wanted to touch on. So I was looking for stuff to talk about today, and one of them is the IVF, the surrogate story. Like that surrogate story is wild, where the woman was hired as a surrogate. They found like a defect in the sonogram, and the couple who contracted her wanted her to abort the baby, and she decided not to, and now she's being hailed as this hero. And it's like, yes, all right,
hang all three of them.
Like, like seriously, there's no good guys in this story. The baby's the only good person in this story.
Let
like this
Lindsay Clancy choke him out.
This woman signed a contract agreeing to have an abortion if there were any birth defect. Like, she signed the contract saying that, and she's like complaining now about the contract. And it's like, this whole thing is so diabolical and evil. Like, this child is now going to grow up knowing that its parents wanted it killed. And the thing is, the parents are now suing for custody. She's still pregnant. The parents are suing for custody, and she's fighting that now. And it's like, they are the parents. It's just such a bizarre thing. Like, we are playing with witchcraft with surrogacy. So I thought we could talk about that. Lila Rose being held up, like holding this lady up like she's some pro-life hero or something. It's like, and they talk about IVF. Like, the only bad part of IVF is that there are innocent embryos that have to be, discarded after. And it's like, there's a list of reasons why IVF is diabolical. I mean, you're removing it from the marital act first off. Right. There's just so many things that are wrong with it. So that was one. Then I had a clip of a girl talking about how she, like, all she wanted to do was be a stay-at-home mom, and she's 26 now. And it was like, I don't know. I thought it was an interesting clip, because I wonder, with the state of male-female dynamics right now, like, I have kids that I want to find a spouse, and they're around that age, and I'm just worried for them, for both my son and my daughters. Like, the pickings are just getting so slim, and you see this tension between the sexes on social media. Men hate women, women hate men. There's just this, I think there's supposed to be like a healthy amount of enmity between men and women. Like, we're supposed to make jokes about them being bad drivers and stuff, but I don't want men and women to hate one another. Like, that's not good. Right? Like, it's just, I know I make a lot of jokes and I tease the ladies, but like, I don't want men and women.
Yeah, but if we cut their access to social media, they won't know that they are supposed to hate us.
That is true, and men seem to be unwilling to do the hard work that needs to be done. So then I wound up settling on this Tucker story. So Tucker made comments recently, which he's been saying this for a while now, that he thinks nukes were not created by humans, but I don't think he means like demons built the nukes. I just think he means humans created them with demonic influence, which, I mean, I think we all think that too, right?
Yeah. I mean, at the very least, like, yeah. If not so much even in their creation, then definitely in their use. You have basically, what was it, 9 out of 10 of the Joint Chiefs telling Truman not to use it. The only one that wanted to, I think, was MacArthur, who then wanted to use 50 nukes in the Korean War.
It's not just that. It's like they were doing like sick, sadistic occult practices in the labs, like in the Manhattan Project and stuff. So we'll get into all of that tonight. So basically, we're going to play the Tucker clip where he says it, and then we have J.D. Hall wrote this whole thing about, it's basically like pitting, because Eric Metaxas as because they all just hate Tucker because Tucker speaks about Israel and the Jews. So Eric Metaxas, the crazy Zionist, is trying to make it like Tucker is crazy for having this opinion. But Eric Metaxas will say like aliens are demons, and he'll say the trans thing is demons, and he'll say everything's demons. But once you get into saying that nukes are demons, it messes with his mythology of the American. It's basically the post-war consensus.
Well, yeah, because if nukes are demons, and the vast majority of the scientists involved with the creation of nukes were Jews, then they're playing with demons. And then, you know, if you have the secrets of the American nuclear program stolen by Jews to then be sold to the Soviet Union, well, there's issues there. And then if, of course, you have the other Jews stealing it to give to Israel, well, then there's issues like...
Yeah. It always comes back to the older brother, doesn't it? So the last thing I sent to the chat is the clip of Tucker. So let's just play what Tucker said, and we'll go from there, because I actually I think we've said as much on this topic. I think that's kind of the consensus for most Christians, that we think there's just demonic influence on our technology. I mean, when you get into, especially when we get into talking about when the bomb is created, that's when you start seeing these, UAPs popping up and stuff like that. We all kind of bring it back to the year 1947 is when these things were created. That's when you start getting all these alien sightings and UFO sightings, and Area 51 pops up and all this stuff. It all kind of culminates in that year when these things were created.
Well, and the Nazis were, of course, trying to get the bomb too. They went a different route using deutonium and heavy water compared to anyways. They were working on it too, and of course, they are heavily involved with the occult.
Yeah,
you have Himmler traveling to India looking for crazy stuff. By the same time, Oppenheimer is obsessed with the Bhagavad Gita, right? Or I forget, I don't know how to pronounce it, but
Bavada Gita or something.
I don't know. You know,
in Avada Davida, baby.
Like the Hindu scriptures that talk about seemingly like aliens in a nuclear war thousands of years ago. You know, like his famous line, I've become the destroyer of worlds, comes right from that work. So all these guys are heavily involved with the occult on both sides, trying to get the bomb. But okay, Tucker clip.
All right, so let's play the Tucker clip, and we'll go from there.
And let me just indulge my theory, which I can't control myself from talking about.
Run, baby.
You've heard it before, but I think nuclear weapons, which I don't think were created by people. Sorry. I don't care how many movies they make about it. I don't believe that.
You didn't see Oppenheimer?
Yeah, okay. Wouldn't watch that crap. Wouldn't let that into my head for 1 second. But anyway, because it's all lies. But anyway, sorry, now I'm getting really crazy, but it's all true. What I'm saying is true. I think once man possessed the power, or believed he possessed the power to destroy everything that's alive, I think that he rejected God. Like, that is kind of like that's rejection of God, and like everything changed after that. People became convinced they were gods, and that's when the true craziness started. It's not the 60s, or the Obama years or whatever you want era. It's like post-nuclear weapons. That's what I believe. And let me just indulge my
all right. So so J.D. Hall says Tucker Carlson suggested demons helped invent the atomic bomb, and Eric Metaxas said it was utterly stupid and accused him of being insane. Oddly, Metaxas has claimed that Candace Owens is demonic, Halloween is demonic, UAP phenomena is demonic, Tucker Carlson is demonic, Islam is demonic, the Democratic Party is demonic, and anti-Semitism is demonic. But apparently Metaxas draws the line at the invention of a weapon that tears a hole in creation and annihilates mankind. Calling that demonic is certifiable and stupid, apparently. Is Tucker off his rocker? When Oppenheimer was at Harvard, he joined a group that used satanic poems as liturgy. 4 years before he died, he was asked what book was most influential for his vocational attitude and listed a collection of satanic poetry that praises the devil throughout it. Its pages are crowded with demons, damnation, vampires, possession, death, blasphemy, and rebellion against God. His favorite poem, the one from Harvard, praises Satan as the giver of forbidden knowledge and for giving the light of new inventions. This is like Kabbalah stuff. And reading Maudsley's book. The reason I thought this would be a good show is I thought it would be a good primer for Maudsley, because going through the Freud stuff, it's weird how some Jews have like this obsession with like either satanic stuff or the idea of like killing. Like Freud was obsessed with this myth of killing Moses, that he believed the Jews killed Moses, their prophet, and it's like he was just substituting Moses for Christ. It was really bizarre, the stuff that Freud was into. So all right. So Isidore Rabi, his friend and Nobel Prize winning physicist, said Oppenheimer sometimes turned away from the hard, crude methods of theoretical physics into a mystical realm of broad intuition. The physicist reportedly turned to metaphysics to give him knowledge from a mysterious unknown source. He learned Sanskrit to study from what Rob said before, Bhagavad Gita, the way the Bible scholars learn Greek to study the scriptures. And historian James Hagia said, without the inspiration of the Gita, Oppenheimer might not have been able or willing to direct Los Alamos. He named Ground Zero for the first atomic blast, giving it the code name Trinity. Oppenheimer was Jewish, mind you. The first victim of atomic weaponry was the Trinity. Coincidence? And then the famous line, I am death, the destroyer of worlds, comes from a Hindu demon god. Was he just citing the demon, or was the demon taking credit and identifying himself? Jack Parsons was one of the pioneers of American rocketry who would eventually make long-range nuclear missiles possible. He was also a devoted follower of Aleister Crowley, joined the Ordo Templi Orientis, headed its Agape Lodge, and reportedly recited Crowley's Hymn to Pan during rocket tests. In 1946, Parsons and future Scientology founder L. Ron Hubbard performed the Babylon Working, a series of ceremonial rituals using Enochian magic, Enochian magic, in an attempt to manifest the Ptolemaic goddess Babylon. He later proclaimed himself the Antichrist, developed a form of witchcraft venerating Babylon and Lucifer, and described his age in occult terms as one of fire, power, violence, and energy, characterized by war and the discovery and liberation of new energies. I mean, I'm stopping there for a second. This goes on, but okay, you're going to tell me these guys aren't seriously involved in the occult? These guys aren't worshiping Satan himself? Come on. In other words, one of the men helping pioneer the technology that would eventually carry atomic weapons across continents was not merely interested in the occult. He was practicing ceremonial magic and deliberately attempting contact with non-human spiritual intelligences. It's part of the stuff that, what's that, Anna Pasolka? Like, did you watch any of her Rogan interview?
I have no idea who you're talking about.
All right, so Anna Pasolka, she's Catholic, and she starts looking into the UAP phenomena. And I think what she's saying is she thinks what AI is going to be is a conduit for humans to interact with these non-human intelligences.
Like a silicone-powered Ouija board?
Something like that, yeah. Yeah, because I've seen clips of people talking about how they're using AI to remote view and all this stuff. Like, this is what we talked about when we had Daniel O'Connor on, by saying, like, we were like, there's two things that can happen with AI. One is it just becomes like a thing that eats itself, where it's just, it's like the LLM basically devours itself and it just keeps spitting out garbage because
entropy gone crazy.
Exactly, yeah. Or it's going to be a way to embody these non-human intelligences. So like all of this stuff is connected. It's so weird. Like you get into 1947, the atomic bomb comes about, the UAP phenomena starts, and and they already start talking about artificial intelligence. It is kind of interesting. You'll see people read something from like the 1950s and 60s, and they talk about artificial intelligence, and people are like, he was telling the future. And it's like, no, this was what, I mean, you go back to Terminator 2, and you were in 1997, it was like, oh, the AI, we achieved AI and the machines take over. Like, we've been talking about this for decades and decades, since the invention of the atomic bomb, at least.
Yeah, I mean, it's believed that Satan was a member of the cherubim, right? And the cherubim are like the knowledge keepers, right? And so Satan has always been intricately connected with knowledge and the pursuit of knowledge. And the fall was Eve wanting the knowledge of good and evil. So I mean, it literally part of the fallen human condition is searching for knowledge from Satan himself.
Yeah. And how you're looking at all these tech guys looking to reverse the curse of the garden. Like, all of this stuff is so interconnected, man. It's such a trip. Like, we're living through some wild times, guys. So, of course, the Bible speaks of demonic forces interacting with mankind, the powers and principalities of darkness in high places, intelligent and personable beings of superior intelligence who interact with man, and in Revelation incite the kings of the earth to make war. That's in the book of Enoch. So Molly's saying this is such a guy's episode. I want to talk about something on Locals tonight that something I can't. Yeah. I want to talk about Catholic weddings, or like Catholics attending non-Catholic weddings. We'll get into it on the other side, but I also have kind of like a little update on that, Rob, which I think you'll find interesting.
Good.
Yeah, like really, really, like I have complete faith in God that situation is going to work out okay. Like, complete faith in God.
Worst case, maybe we'll turn into good content for the channel.
That's worst case scenario. The book of Enoch, all right, cited in the Bible by Jude and Peter, explains a passage in the Old Testament of these beings coming down to earth and involving themselves in the lives of men. Frankly, it sounds exactly like the tales from every ancient culture on earth in their stories of the Anunnaki, who came from the heavens to teach them the art of warfare and technologies that exceeded their understanding. This is what we talked about with Michael Hitchborn, right? Like what are these ancient monoliths that exist? Are they the antediluvian like structures that exist, but that they were built with the help from these intelligences, things like that? None of this means that demons help make the atomic bomb. What it does mean is that it's not crazy to think so. In fact, it does indeed seem like something demons would be very excited about. So other than reading from Israel's cue cards today, why would Metaxas allege Tucker was crazy for believing it? After all, if Candace and anti-Semitism and the DNC are demonic, why not nuclear weaponry? Metaxas's reaction makes more sense.
Now, hold on. To be fair, according to Candace, she is Legion.
That is so bizarre. I think she's just dumb and doesn't know what she's saying.
I agree.
I have to imagine she's just dumb and doesn't know what she's saying.
Like, the charitable assumption is she's just functionally illiterate and doesn't know what that means.
She doesn't know what that story is from. She doesn't understand that that's literally from the story of Christ exorcising the demon from the man. And the demon says, "We are Legion." Like, that's what that story is from. That's what that phrase is from. So Metaxas' reaction makes more sense when you understand his post-war civil religion, which is post-war consensus, right? That's what this all is. Bonhoeffer is its martyr and prophet. The Holocaust is its atonement. Churchill its Messiah figure, and Allied victory functions as the final judgment of history, granting the victors an almost retroactive moral authority over whatever they did to win. Tucker's theory threatens that arrangement because it permits Satan into the machinery of Allied victory itself. That paragraph is so powerful.
Everything about the post-war consensus and the world we live in now is an attempt to convince us that we're not fighting the same spiritual battle we've always been fighting.
Yeah.
Or that if that battle was won when we defeated, the the new Satan named Hitler, more or less.
Yeah, it's Holocaustianity.
Yeah.
Like that's it's Holocaustianity, which that phrase was coined by Williamson, I'm pretty sure. Like I'm pretty sure Williamson coined that phrase, right? Holocaustianity. It's like it's not one Jew who died for our sins, it's all the Jews had to die for us. That's the whole point in calling it the Holocaust. Like Christ was the final Holocaust. It's like it's actually like you shouldn't even give them that and call it that.
Right.
You-
It's a
you really
denial
shouldn't
of,
even call it
of
that.
Christ.
Like, yeah, it's suddenly Dresden, Hiroshima, and Nagasaki can be judged as moral acts rather than automatically sanctified. Sorry, guys. Suddenly, Dresden, Hiroshima, and Nagasaki can be judged as moral acts rather than automatically sanctified because the Allies committed them. Metaxas is perfectly comfortable finding demons in Hitler, communism, Islam, anti-Semitism, witchcraft, and his political enemies. But the demonic influence aboard an American bomber, however, and supernaturalism becomes insanity. That isn't Christianity. It's the national mythology wearing Christian clothes. Holocaustianity. Thanks. I'll use that in my history class of Monday and report back how it goes. Ocean. I can't even imagine.
You know what, though?
Dispute,
He'll be fine.
Yeah, you get a pass, bro.
Yeah,
you get a
fine.
pass like I get an N-word pass. You're allowed to say whatever you want. Yeah, so all right, he says this isn't Christianity, it's national mythology wearing Christian clothes. Besides, if demons make war in the modern world, then maybe they have more than something to do with Israel killing 90% civilian non-combatants, a girls' school of 200 wiped off the face of Iran, and a war in Ukraine going on longer than makes sense for literally no good reason. And if Satan isn't banned by the American border and even the good guys can be subject to demonic influence, that destroys the liturgy of the civil religion Metaxas has given his soul to worship. Ooh, that's a brutal freaking line there. Believing Satan could go nuclear must be dismissed post haste, or too many suppositions fail at once. So instead, he's chosen to attack a Christian for believing in supernatural things. Satan can be blamed for criticizing the Israeli state, but not for making the nuclear bomb. So I want to make sure this is JD Hall. I think it is JD Hall, right?
I
think it is JD Hall. JD Hall is like a recent convert, I think. Not Catholic. He's not. I don't think he's Catholic, but it is pretty cool that everyone kind of is awake to this stuff now. Like everyone's just kind of awake to this stuff now, and we're seeing everything breaking down. Like the Holocaust narrative is breaking down. The World War II narrative is breaking down. We're seeing how it's affected every single facet of our lives today. Like we look back, we're going to do a 9/11 episode with Hitchborn because everybody was saying, oh, Hitchborn would have been good for this one. We're going to have Hitchborn on for 9/11. Now, what I want to do for that episode is I want to spend
in like 3 weeks.
Yeah. 9/11's coming up
for the 25th anniversary.
Yeah. So what I want to do is on YouTube, I want to just talk about the day. Like I just want to talk about like the day,
like
reminisce on the day, because
in your booming business afterwards.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll get into all. I mean, I was in New York when it happened, right? So I want to get into the day on YouTube, and then on Locals, I want to get into all the conspiracy theories on it. Because Hitchborn's got some wild theories, and I have such a different view on that event now than I did then. Like you just think about the difference in how much our opinions have shifted just from having all these narratives break apart and seeing how much BS we've been fed in our lifetimes. Like everything is nonsense. Yeah, it's crazy. 25 years.
I mean, you know, putting aside whether or not the event happened as we're told, the event did cause us to hold on to the post-war order another 20 years.
25 years, 23 years,
yeah.
Right? I mean, we're still clinging to it. So, yeah, it's not just building 7 Ocean. Like, I used to think what's his name? What the hell is the wrestler that became governor?
Don't say Jesse Ventura.
I used to think Jesse Ventura was out of his freaking mind with the thermite paint.
Okay, as a Minnesotan, trust me, he's out of his mind.
He is out of his mind. I know. But I look at those planes hitting those buildings now, and I'm like, those planes shouldn't have taken down those buildings, dude. They shouldn't have taken. They shouldn't have taken down those buildings. I would have literally fought someone who said that years ago. Like, the jet fuel streamed down and it was and I would have fought with them about it. And I'm just like, yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I don't put it past any of them anymore to literally line that, but that they look like the detonation of a building.
I wouldn't. Okay, so we're going to talk about it in 3 weeks, but I wouldn't be surprised. Like, I think maybe they were. I think they were surprised that the buildings came down, actually. And then maybe there was something in Building 7 that was evidence of the attack, and they're like, "Well,
I don't know,
crap,
man.
this building needs to come down."
You get into the guy taking the insurance policy out like a week before the guy bought the buildings and put an insurance policy on it and upped the insurance. But that's different because you could say he knew something was going to happen, but that doesn't mean he knew the buildings would come down. You know, I don't know. Look, there's a ton of shady stuff. I'm going to deep dive into the craziest conspiracy theories, and we'll bring that to that Locals episode.
I'm gonna have to drink.
Rob's not a voice of reason. Rob's a voice of contrarian opinion. Like, it's just
I exist to oppose Anthony.
He's just being contrarian. He thinks the Jews loaded that thing with dynamite. Don't let him fool you.
I don't. I should have just kept sleeping. I should have just
when you say did I see it, I don't know what you mean by that. I did not. I was not in the city when it happened. I was in a mad rush to get my wife, and it was just a hectic, insane day. But no, I was not like in the city. I was not in southern Manhattan when it went down or anything. But even just being in New York for the days following was such an intense time. So we'll get into all that. We'll go through a lot of it.
And it's like, Ma, did you keep all the food from the Y2K scare? We might need it.
Growing up, my mom was convinced that the end of the world was coming in 2000, and she stockpiled food, and it had a lot to do with Medjugorje and Marian apparitions.
It was because of Medjugorje.
It was like all to do with Marian apparitions, and then this whole for you guys that don't know what Y2K is, because we have a lot of young dude. I went to mass on Sunday.
The Mormons should sponsor Garabandal.
I went to mass on Sunday and met two guys who were attending their first Latin mass who are fans of the show, and they're 17 years old. Two 17-year-old guys who watched the show, Anthony and I think Jason or James, I forgot the other guy, but one kid's name is Anthony. And they both watched the show, and it was their first Latin mass. Really nice guy, really nice kids. But that just goes to show you, like, those kids would have no idea what Y2K is. So for the younger guys, like even Ocean, when we were approaching the turn of the century, we were approaching the year 2000, they had us all convinced that every single computer was going to shut down and all the power was going to die. like power plants were going to shut down because of some glitch in computers that when they created them, they didn't account. What was it? Like, why was Y2K? I don't even know how to explain it.
I mean, basically that when dates were coded, that they were coded as a 2-digit year, right? And that
like 96, 97, 98.
Right. And that when that programs weren't written to account for a year that was 00. And I don't know why. And of course, it proved to be completely stupid. They're like, nothing happened.
Listen to me. I'm telling you, K9 Shepherd, I did have Y2K fever because my mother made me think the world was going to end. Okay. 2000 is the year I graduated. Okay. We were at my friend's house for New Year's Eve 2000. I was I 18 yet? I might have been 17.
Really, Y2K was invented so that the Geek Squad at Best Buy could, charge you a couple $100 to make sure
To
your
come and fix your computer
it.
and stuff. They had us all thinking like power plants were going to shut down, and
They were selling software updates and other programs.
Yeah, it was just they made it like the world was going to be in chaos, So New Year's Eve 2000. I don't know if I turned 18 yet. I think I turned 18 in the year 2000. So no, I was 17. We're at my friend's house, counting down, and I ran in the basement and found the freaking the circuit breaker. And as soon as it hit 0, I flipped the circuit breaker down, and everybody freaked out. Good times, man. It was a fun night.
Well, being at Central Time, like we had the advantage of, hey, if stuff's happening at midnight, we'll see it happen over on the East Coast first.
That's true. Yeah, you would. Yeah, that is kind of funny.
So when we're watching the ball come down, it's actually about to be 11 o'clock. The ball comes down and nothing happens, and it's like, poof. Yeah. I don't have to worry for the next hour.
So people saying like they didn't really think about it much. You have to. I'm trying to explain to you guys.
Yes, Y2K audits. That's what it was. Every business was doing Y2K audits.
Yeah, I was in the construction world. I had no idea what was going on there. But in my home, like this was like end of the world fervor. Okay. So like my mom showed me like bleeding statues and like, why is the statue of Mary crying? Like I'm telling you, we thought it was so much that my older brother, when those things didn't happen, I think that was part of the reason my brother lost his faith. Like my brother was really like expecting this stuff to happen. And when it didn't happen, he kind of was just like, no,
it's all BS.
It's all BS. Like the end of the world's not coming, knock it off. And it caused him to lose his faith, Whereas me, it definitely had an impression, and it also, like, I never forgot the miracles of Catholicism, right? So like I knew about Eucharistic miracles. I knew about Marian apparitions. I knew about bleeding statues. I knew about incorruptible saints. I knew about all that stuff, so that even when those years I was away from the faith, or like away from the, I don't even say away from the sacraments. I was never I was away from the sacraments. Like I never doubted there was only one place to go, and it's what made me, even though I married a Lutheran girl, say, no, we're getting married in the church. I wasn't going to mass at the time. But those things that my mom told me about, like, ingrained something in me enough to say, no way, I won't get married outside the church. Like, I always knew the sacraments were real. I always did. Like, I always knew the sacraments were real. Who's that, Maddie or
Iggy?
Iggy?
What?
You on that camera?
Hi.
What's up, bud?
He's on. Hold on.
Oh.
What's up, Egg?
Wait, Ryan.
Did you guys have birthday cake for Bash the other night?
No. I
No?
had that
You didn't?
date.
Cupcakes? You had cupcakes?
Stupid for baby bath.
And baby Bash is 1 now?
Yeah.
1 years old?
Mm-hmm.
Are you being a big brother? Are you being a
My
good big brother?
brother is bedding.
Yeah. How old are you now?
2 with 5.
How old are you now?
5.
5? You're 5?
Yep.
Wow, you're a big boy.
I wish when I wish I would do ball.
What did he say?
I wish I would do ball.
You were just 4? Well, all right. Well, it was nice talking to you, Iggy.
But I didn't. I'm 5.
Now you're 5. I know. He's just like Rob.
I love you, Bobby.
I see you, buddy.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye. He's just like Rob.
And Bobby, I read your hair.
He likes your hair.
This is how he talks at work. Oh, he said he wishes he was still 4. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. He said he wishes he was still 4. I said, did you have cake for Bash's birthday the other day? He said, no, I had cupcakes.
Cupcake, yeah.
He had cupcakes. Yeah, so like that fervor growing up in my house, like it was, I'm telling you, my whole basement was stocked with canned food and all this stuff because like we really, it was just like,
I have a feeling Chef Boyardee wasn't allowed though.
oh, I don't know. My parents, we were pretty ghetto, dude. We didn't have like Italian standards like that. We don't care. No, there was no Chef Boyardee or SpaghettiOs or anything, but like even in my house, I'm not like Rayo's isn't beneath me, you know. It's like we'll do jarred sauce in a jam or something. But yeah, speaking of Catholic weddings, maybe we'll go to the other side. We'll cut this one short. Yeah, it's like this was the whitest member of Avoiding Babylon. Yeah, so all right, so we're going to do the Y2K episode. I just thought that was a really good
9/11
by JD Hall.
9/11 episode, not Y2K.
Oh, well, we could talk both of them. Yeah, we're gonna do a 9/11 episode with Hitchborn in 3 weeks, though we have him booked already. And it's but I thought that whole thing, like getting into how this really is the religion for the neocons, especially. Like all of us are willing to touch these taboos now. It's kind of interesting how, like, we're gonna have Maudsley on Saturday, and I kind of want to reminisce about like just like how far we've come on this issue, because I feel like he's kind of evolved on at the same time as us. We've all like together collectively started to go, wait a minute, something's not right here. And then we went from like thinking some things were off to just deep diving into the like that relationship between Jews and Christians that hasn't been spoken about in 60 years.
Yeah.
It's kind of wild. Like we all discovered it together. Like even having Sam Shamoon on that episode, like he never really talked about that stuff. That's really a recent thing for him too. Love the sponsors. Free new AB. What is that?
He's trying to remind us to talk about our sponsors,
which we are about to. I was trying to think of a good knick-knack success story. But all right, so we're gonna go to the other side. Yeah, I don't know. There's not much.
You know
more
what?
to add
You know
to
what
that.
technology wasn't influenced by demons? Knickknacks.
Knickknacks.com. Go to knickknack.com and use code. Bring it up.
Unlike Alp, which is very is made by demon worshippers in India.
100%. They like Alps are made by Hindu. They're just filthy. They're made in India. How could you put something in your mouth that was made in India? Do you ever see how those people live? No way. No way will I put something in my mouth that was made there. Go to knickknack.com. Use code AB25% for 25% off your first purchase. Use code AB10 for 10% off all subsequent purchases. Knickknacks is a nicotine product. Nicotine is an addictive substance. It is a miraculous drug. We have told you guys, don't forget about our contest. Whoever can get, we're doing like tiers too. Like you get $1,000 if you get a knickknack into Pope Leo's hands. But if you get if you go to Michael Matt's conference and Bishop Strickland's there and you get Bishop Strickland to hold one up, you get a $100 bonus for that. Yeah, we'll give you 200 for
I think
Bishop,
200.
$200 for a Bishop Strickland. We'll get we'll weigh it out depending on how well known the Catholic figure is.
100 if you get Michael Matt to admit he knows about us.
That you get a video of Michael Matt saying yes, he is aware of us. We'll throw $100 your way. Okay. So we are also go to blackmonkrosary.com. Use code Avoiding Babylon at checkout there. You'll also get 10% off. Been using my Black Monk rosary every day again. Really love having that rosary in my truck. It smashes every time I hit a pothole, nearly breaks the shifter cable on my truck. It's pretty amazing. I gotta
We've
send
been
one of those
trying to
to Eddie.
convince them to come up with an Avoiding Babylon themed rosary, but he said you guys haven't bought enough using our code yet. So you have to go buy more rosaries.
Oh, come on.
So
They're paying us for this, guys. Go and buy a Black Monk rosary. Are you kidding? You guys are not on the team. That's the problem. You guys are not on the team. So go to Black Monk Rosary, get 10% off your rosary using code Avoiding Babylon. All right, we're going to go to the other side. I want to talk some. Oh, one of my coworkers got arrested.
Yep, I saw that. Again.
Another coworker arrested.
Ghost guns again, or
no, it wasn't that. It was for assault.
Oh.
Hear the story on the other side. If you guys want to know behind the scenes stuff, that's where we do it. So and then maybe one of these days we'll do an episode of Locals just trashing Sede Picante. I just hate that little shit. So maybe we'll just do an episode one day. Not tonight, but maybe one day. We'll see. I don't know if I want to give him I don't know if I want to waste oxygen on him, but we'll see. All right. We'll see you guys on the other side.
It'll be the most anyone's ever thought about him.
It is true. All right. Take us out, Rob.
Okay. I'm not gonna do a video. We're just doing this.
Just killing the feeds.
Just killing the feeds.
All right, let me bring the Locals chat up. It's got to be a terrible way to end the YouTube feed. It's just